So, how the roles reverse. After months of Mark asking me questions, it's my turn to ask him questions. I am Mark Sham's Uncle Mike, that he always brings onto the show, and we chat about all kinds of stuff. But today, I'm going to be asking Mark Sham some questions. Hello, Mark.
Hello, Michael. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, makes a nice change. So, Mark, as many people watching this today can't help but notice, I am of a certain different generation. And I've noticed that you are doing an event around cryptocurrencies, right? Now, cryptocurrencies is something that somebody like me needs to understand a little better. But tell me about this event that you're going to run about cryptos.
Thank you, Mark. And I like that the roles have reversed for a change. It's quite nice. So the crypto thing is fascinating because I have the belief that it's going to have an incredible impact on the future, not just of finance, but of a variety of sectors that impact every human. Of course, this is speculative right now, but I firmly believe that. To add to that, I think what's happening right now is that the cryptocurrency entryway, the driveway into it, is really complex. And most people don't understand how to get into it. So a few years ago, like most people, I simply started to invest in crypto 2017 because I wanted to make money. And then over the years, I started to really understand the technology. And I'd say in the last 6 months, I've done the most deep dive around crypto, the financial sector, all of these things. And I realized that it's not as complicated as it needs to be. And I think the skill set that I have is to try to take this complex thing as it stands right now, simplify it and give it to people. So my goal isn't to get people to buy crypto, it's to understand it, and then they can kind of do with that information as they wish.
So you've always been about education, just in general, and this is to try and educate people that crypto is not just Bitcoin.
Yes.
Because that's what somebody like me says, crypto equals Bitcoin, and then I'll walk away as if I've just said something profound. So you're going to break it down for people that come to this event, is that correct?
Yeah, and I think there's a few things to note about the event without presenting the event right now. I think to understand the role that crypto, I believe, will play in the future, you have to kind of understand the current monetary system, how central banks work, and all of that sounds very up in the air for most people, but the truth is that these things actually impact us all on a daily basis. You know, when you and I were born, we didn't get to pick which currency we denominate in. And we certainly didn't get to pick if we pay taxes or not. You can, but you kind of pick pay taxes or go to jail. And whenever the central banks around the world or these centralized powers make decisions, you and I don't really get to opt in and vote whether we think these are good ideas or not. And so we don't really get to decide if inflation goes up or down. And then the impacts of them impact us significantly. Things like purchasing power going down significantly. And I think we've seen over the last few decades where you see these mega crashes like the 2008 financial crisis, where the lives of everyday people got impacted severely through no fault of their own. In the US right now, you have this really crazy setup, which for them, they have 7% inflation, give or take. And that's not actually in real terms, because there's some sectors where it's blown up. You know, people are paying 50% to almost 100% more than they were for those same items a year ago. And that comes on the back of the Federal Reserve in the US printing 40% of all dollars in existence today got printed in the last 18 months. And whether that's not conspiracy theory, that's just fact. And they kept calling things like inflation transitory, and now it's not. And so it's impacting people's lives in a very real way, but they don't get to do anything about it. And I'm trying to put forward this idea that, in a sense, the immune system of society was triggered in 2008, and these things called cryptocurrency came along. And they were very clunky at first, and people said, it's a scam, don't take it seriously. But every time the price kept going up. And now we're 13 years in, most people still don't understand how cryptocurrency works. But the reality is there's huge adoption. And we do this thing as human beings where we shy away from new technologies when we don't understand them. And we look at them where they're at now instead of where they will be. So I think this is 1996 again. And there's this thing called the internet. And the modem makes a really screechy noise. And a lot of people are looking at this thing called the internet, really crypto. And they're going like, this is a fad, this will pass. But if you believe that the internet revolutionized virtually every aspect of life, I think that cryptocurrency certainly has the potential to do the same, with one major exception. The internet didn't have the internet to power it. Crypto is built on the back of the internet. And so it's speeding things up. And I would like to at least give a point of view from one beginner to the other as to how I see it, why I think it matters.
Okay, so let people tell us, when exactly are you going to be doing this event? What must people do? Because I must admit, I'm interested right now, because I sit here not really understanding the intricacies. So that's going to be demystified for me. And tell me about the event, when it happens, where it happens.
Yeah, so obviously we are sitting right now at the Tryst, and it's a venue in Woodmead Santon, our venue. And so we've got a big eventing space downstairs. And so on the 3rd of February, it is a Thursday evening. We are running this free event. I've called it a beginner's guide to cryptocurrency, and that's exactly what it will be. The event is largely free. People can attend at no cost. And for those people who are either not based in Johannesburg or simply don't want to attend in person because that's not where their heads are at, we will then be recording the event, placing it on our YouTube channel at no cost. And again, my goal is just to try help people understand a lot of these technicalities, these complexities, or the role that it plays in a way they didn't understand before. What they do with that information from there is up to them. But I'm trying to encourage people to experiment, to try new things, to understand a technology that feels new and obscure, and instead of turning your head away from it, face it head on and try and understand what it could be, because you don't want to be the person who's playing catch up later. And if you look at past technologies, human beings, especially some very smart ones, have done this. Some people were the last to let go of their fax machine for email. Some people were the last to let go of their feature phone for a smartphone. But eventually it moves that way. If this has the potential to do that, you at least want to understand it and not bury your head in the sand.